to episode 10 of Knit Mania. I am so excited that we are in double digits. Thank you everybody that has watched the video, and if you're on YouTube and you hit that subscribe button, that helps me out so much. If you put comments on the YouTube channel, that's great, and I will start answering them. I've been really bad the past 7 weeks. Those of you that have watched my podcast before know that I broke my shoulder about 7.5 weeks ago, so almost 2 months. And even though I have podcasted a couple of times during that time, this is the first time that I actually feel like me again. This is my broken shoulder, and look at, I can actually move it. It's not in a sling. No, it's not back to normal. I'm doing physical therapy, and which is incredibly painful, but I really want to get my mobility back. And so that's what it takes. That's what I'm told anyway. So that's kind of what's going on. But I'm just feeling so grateful that my body is starting to work again. And now I can knit much better. I had to switch from knitting like continental to knitting English, and I was in a lot of pain, and I was in a sling, and I was on medication. And so even though I attempted to knit almost the whole time, it was really sad knitting. So I do have 2 finished objects, which I'm really excited about. I haven't had finished objects in forever. So that's really exciting to me. But I do have to talk about these socks. So I started them at the very beginning of June 1st, as a matter of fact, because I was so excited to start with Summer Sock Camp, which is put on by Kay of the CrazySockLady, and it goes on for all 3 months of summer, June, July, and August. And I had huge plans of trying to do 6 pairs. So this is the first pair that I cast on, and it's what, July 24th, 25th, and it's the first pair I've finished. Now I'm gonna say I have a pretty good excuse. Breaking a shoulder, you know, it's gonna slow you down. But the other thing about these is the second one, let me see. Oh yeah, I'll be able to, I can tell. The first one I did a pretty good job on. And then the second one, you know, was during the majority of my recovery. And let me tell you, this is kind of a sad sock. I ripped it out twice, and so this is the third part, the third sock, and it is definitely not up to par with what I would normally do. I don't know if you can tell. I guess not really easily here, but the gauge varies pretty wildly. I purposely haven't like put in the ends or darned the holes yet, because I wanted you to see how bad it is. So these, I'm officially naming these my broken shoulder socks, and so they will remind me of a hard period, but also you know, that I'm recovered. And so you can see, let's start showing all the errors. Here's a drop stitch, then I'm gonna pull in from the back. Okay, so drop stitch. Found that like when I was up here, and I really didn't want to go back down there. So that's one. And then the holes. My goodness, people, the holes. Look at that hole. It won't be nearly as obvious, you know, when I put in the ends. You know, I'm gonna close these up. But I mean, it's just, there was another big hole somewhere. But it kind of amuses me just to kind of think about my recovery and think about that I love knitting so much that even though I wasn't doing a great job, and even though I was in a ton of pain, that this is like literally one of the only things that I wanted to continue doing. I did some reading, but you know, like even just holding the book was really, really hard. And I couldn't like lay on my side to read. I couldn't lay on my stomach to read. So that was challenging. I did do some reading, but really I mostly watched TV and knit, and then frogged and then knit again. So this is my big finished object. And I obviously haven't blocked them yet or anything because I wanted to show you the holes and the brokenness of them, but I still love them. And I will block them and take out all the little lanterns and darn them to be as pretty as they can be. And I'll show you the finished result next week. I'll probably wear them and take a picture wearing them. I think that's what I'll do. So this is my first pair of finished socks for the summer. And I did these on two 16-inch circulars. That's definitely my preferred version at this point. I, during one of my iterations of doing this, I tried Magic Loop and I was just like, no. And that was one of the times that I tore out, and then I went back to the 2-inch circulars. I find that it's way more comfortable, that it's just easier. Yeah, I love that version. I did try the 9-inch circular, and I probably will try those again because it just didn't work. I had started it before I broke my shoulder and I was doing fine, but then after that motion I couldn't do, and so I tore those out too. So I've done as much frogging as I've done knitting in the past 2 months, but boy is that changing, okay? I am gonna tell you. So, and I'd even gotten to a point where I was kind of feeling discouraged just because, you know, I was doing so bad, and I was afraid that maybe my passion for knitting might be waning, because I will say throughout my life that I've had lots of things that have interested me for a time, and then I get kind of sick of them, or I want to go to a different thing. And knitting has been markedly different. But I'm happy to say that as soon as I was able to have the sling off and was able to knit the way that I like to, and, you know, my gauge and everything started coming back, I am raring to go. So that is exciting. And then the second finished object, which I just started and finished today, is a Hexy Puff. So it's been so long since I've done a Hexy Puff. I tried to do it, you know, with my immobilizer, and I use DPNs for these, and there was just no way. I mean, no way. I tried twice, and I was just like, I don't know if I chucked them, but I feel like I know I wanted to, and I might have. I think I just chucked them into my drawer. But anyway, this, isn't this a pretty purple? And there's even, the lighting isn't showing it as well as I would like to. There is some really subtle blue in there. Oh yeah, you can see a little bit over there. Little tiny flecks of brown. Yeah, I really like this. And so I think this one is pretty enough and like tonal enough, super subtly variegated, that I don't feel like I need to do cross stitch on it. I like this one enough on its own. So I'm happy, and look at, I don't know if you can tell, but this one is really plump, and it came out like really, really well. I think it might be the tightest, nicest Hexy Puff that I've done. And considering that I haven't done one in months, it just made me really hyper and happy to be able to make one. I'm like, I love you, Hexies. You're my little buddies. So definitely committing to going back to doing one of those a week. Also committing to doing a podcast every week, hopefully to land on Fridays. So that is it for my finished objects, but I don't even feel like I should say that is it. I feel like I should be like, wow, I finally have finished objects, woo! So, okay, Deep breath. So now I'm going to go to works in progress. I kind of have a lot, like always, but I'm not going to show a lot. I did work on my shawl that's called Till We Meet Again, which is a year-long knit-along, and it's gorgeous. But I am so behind. I'm in March, and yeah, this is July. So I don't know that there's any way I'm going to be able to catch up. I could if I really just dedicated myself to it, and I might, but I haven't gotten that bean yet to do that. So we'll see. But I do have 2 sock whips that I've been actively working on. So this one I cast on, I think it was last week. Last week was Shark Week, and one of the people that I follow the most and who I just adore is Natalie from KnittyNatty, and I belong to her membership, Love and Stitches, so I'm always on Zooms with other members and stuff, and she does a big Shark Week sock knit along. And so I started it that week. Of course, I didn't finish because I was still, I'm still slower. Every day I'm getting quicker at knitting and life and everything else. But this is what I have so far. This is by Cozy Knitter, and I think it's called something Storm. And this is the first time I've used Cozy Knitter's yarn. It's so interesting. I've been kind of studying yarn because like you get yarn and it says it's fingering weight, and most of the yarn I get is 75% superwash, 25% nylon. Some of it is 80% superwash merino, 20% nylon. But you think fingering weight, maybe a 5% difference as far as material should all be the same. No. It's just amazing how different it can feel as far as feeling thick or thin, feeling really plush or more dense, the level of softness. So this one is different than any one that I've had. It does feel very thick, not super plush, and not super soft, but gorgeous. So I'm really interested to work this up and then wash it. I have heard that some wool, like the more you wash it, the softer and softer it gets. And so that's definitely what I'm hoping and actually expecting with this one. My son saw this, my son Brody saw this, and he was like, "Oh, you're knitting my sock." So he really loves blue, and he's been wanting me to make him something. And is he knitworthy? I guess that would depend on how you define it. Is he knitworthy in the manner of, do I love him and would I be happy to knit something for him? Absolutely. Is he knitworthy in the way of, would he take care of it? Absolutely not. So I'm a little ambivalent about making him socks. But, and then the other thing is this came in like a monthly kit. And what I didn't realize is this is 70 grams of this colorway, and then there's 20 grams of a gray, like the matching gray with this. And I was not knowing that he was going to try to appropriate it. I was planning on doing like 10 rows. Then when he said he wanted it, I did 20, and then I realized maybe I won't have enough yarn to make his size. So I still haven't decided if I'm gonna do yarn chicken. I think I'm gonna do, like, I definitely am gonna do the little heel a different color and then the toes a different color, but will that be enough? I don't know. So I still haven't decided if that's his or mine. But to be determined. I will let you know on that, keeping you updated. I would like to give them to him, but it would just kind of suck if I ran out of yarn. Then I wouldn't be able to give it to him because I wouldn't want to give him something that didn't match. So I'm kind of leaning towards those being mine and just making him, I have some really pretty blues that he would like, and making him a different pair. The other thing I'm intrigued about, especially with the guys in my life, you know, all around Instagram right now, people are doing the DK weight socks, and, you know, heavier, go way faster because you're using it like a size 3 instead of a size 1. And so I think that might be the route that I'm gonna go. I think that's a good idea. So my next whip is something that I actually just started today. This is also something that I ripped out. So, you know, I started a bunch of socks, and then I just wasn't doing well enough, and wasn't, yeah, they didn't look good. And this yarn I am obsessed with. This is Legacy Fiber Arts. It's in their Cozy Sock base, and it's Octopus Garden. Oh my goodness, it's a newer one of theirs. It's so pretty. So I was not happy with, you know, the mistakes that I made in this, and I just decided that I love this yarn so much. I only wanted to have good thoughts about it. The other one I was okay with, you know, it being my one sock that was during that period of time, but this one I wasn't. And I've been doing almost exclusively vanilla socks, whether they're shorty vanilla socks or, you know, more standard length vanilla socks, all vanilla socks. So I decided it was time to get out of my vanilla sock bubble. And so I am doing, it's called, let me see, it's called Dorsal Socks. Let me see if I can. So the front is normal, there you go. And the back has that fun, like, dorsal fin on it. And again, going back to Shark Week, I thought that would be super fun to have that design. And I hadn't seen socks that had a design on the back, but were, you know, just normal plain on the front. And I just kind of thought I liked that idea. So that was one reason why I picked these, but there's another reason too. So this is by Helen Stewart, and some of you might know her. So she does her patterns. This is a paid pattern, so I can't really show you much, but I will quickly show you the first page. Okay, you can see, let's see. She goes row by row. And I was so intrigued with that. I was watching a podcast, I'm pretty sure it was Grocery Girls, and they weren't talking about this pattern, but they were talking about Helen Stewart and about how Helen Stewart's pattern go row by row. And I've never had a designer that does that I've followed, and I just thought, how cool is that? Like, you just check it off instead of, you know, doing your own writing and all of that. So I'm excited to do that. It'll be doing some like cabling, which I haven't done before, so I'm excited to learn something new. As you can see, I'm just at the very beginning. But even at the beginning, I'm doing a twisted stitch rib, knit one, purl one, but the knit is a twisted. And I'm really liking the look of that. So I'm excited to continue with that. That is in my project bag that I got from Mountain State Stitches that I love so much. Look at the pretty inside. And I'm really starting to like the drawstrings. And hey, I can actually do that. I couldn't do that for a long time. So really loving that. Oh, I didn't tell you, with my broken shoulder socks. Like the saga just never ended. So 2 nights ago, I was almost done with them. And I put them in my nightstand. And when I got up to go to the bathroom about 4 o'clock in the morning, you know, in the dark, I'm walking to the bathroom and I feel something and I immediately knew it was yarn. And so I have a 1-year-old cat who has a 4-month-old kitten. And they're supposed to be locked out of our bedroom at night. They're supposed to go into my son Tanner's room. But somehow, instead, they got locked into our room and found the ball of yarn because it's a kitten and it's a ball of yarn. And so I tried to go back to sleep and just be like, okay, I'm going to deal with it in the morning. But I couldn't. Like, I had felt enough that I knew that it wasn't just like a strand of yarn. So I turned on the light and oh my gosh. So they must have like rolled the yarn like in and out of the bedpost and then down the hallway into my closet, back to the bed. And so needless to say, it was a mess. Miraculously, like the sock was still on the needles, still fine. So I spent 20 minutes like on my hands and knees, kind of hobbling because of my shoulder, getting all the yarn. They had broken it once. And again, miraculously, I got all the way done with the sock, and about 2 feet after that was where the break was. So I didn't even have to restart that. So yes, redone 3 times, wholly and partially destroyed by cats. Still happened. So those are the 2 works in progress that I have. 2 socks. And I think tomorrow I'm going to start, you know, a lot of people do Scrappy Sunday. And I have been collecting like 20 gram skeins of yarn for probably close to a year, maybe 8 months, but like a good amount. But I haven't started making anything yet. So I think it's time. And I definitely want to make a blanket, but I don't know which blanket I want because there are 3 or 4 that I really adore. I mean, obviously I'm starting the Hexy Puff, or I've started the Hexy Puff, right? And the Hexy Puff is legitimately going to take years. So I mean, even though that is technically a blanket in progress, that's not really what I'm considering it to be. I'm considering it to be a Hexy Puff project, you know, until we get, you know, a lot more down. So the choices that I'm thinking about are the jelly roll blanket, which a lot of people are doing right now, the Battenberg, and the Cozy Memories. So all of those are really good for Scrappy's projects. And I'm going to decide which one I'm going to do. I have the patterns already for the Cozy Memories and the Battenberg. So I guess it would make sense to do one of those, but we'll see. To be determined. So I will tell you which one I decided on next week, and be able to show you the beginnings of it. You know, hopefully it'll be a little ways done at least. So that brings me to Happy Mail. And actually I got very little mail. I seem to get most of my mail at the beginning of the month because I belong to quite a few different clubs, and they seem to ship out at the beginning of the month. So actually, I don't have any actual mail. I am waiting very excitedly for some mail with my Love and Stitches membership. We did a optional Christmas in July swap. So it was a secret, like I don't know who is sending to me, and I sent a box to somebody, but she doesn't know that I sent it to her. So the criteria was a project bag, a new skein of yarn, and then something that fit in the palm of your hand. So like it could be a notion, or it could be whatever you wanted. But we were only allowed to mail 3 things, which was really hard for me. I wanted to mail other stuff, but I was like, okay, I'll follow the rules. I am not good at following the rules. Anybody that knows me knows that, but I did. Yes, reluctantly. So I can't wait to get my secret Christmas in July package. I'll of course be showing you that as soon as I get it. So the only thing that I have are a couple things that I got from my local yarn store, Hands On Knitting. So this is really fun. This is Alexandra, the Art of Yarn. And I would say that this is one of the big yarn companies that Hands On Knitting carries. And oh my goodness, her yarn is gorgeous. This is 80% superwash, 20% silk. And it is called Dark Side of the Moon. Wait, let me see if I can get, yeah. And this is an exclusive color for our store, Hands On Knitting Center. So of course I had to get it. They have Dark Side of the Moon, and then they have a light one that also has this on it. It's really, really pretty. But it was also called Dark Side of the Moon, I believe, and I was like, that doesn't make sense to me. So I got this one. I don't know what I'm gonna do with this one, since it doesn't have any nylon in it, and yeah, I don't know. I think it would make a really pretty cowl, or part of a cowl maybe. I wear a lot of black, so a lot of black with that pop of blue and white and gray. That might be pretty. But then the big thing that I also bought from Hands On Knitting is a birthday box. So excuse me for crinkling a little bit, but I just had to show you the whole thing. So this is their 10th year being in business. So look at this. Look at how impressive this box is. And man, was I not disappointed in it. I'm not gonna lie, I spent some money on it. Okay, I'll tell you, it was $115. Okay, so present number 1. Even though I bought it, I consider them to be presents. Presents to myself, okay? So a ruler, it says Hands On Knitting Center. Ruler comes out and it's got colored pencils. Cute, right? Number 1. Number 2, just a little, bag. Actually didn't take this out. I'm like, does this say Hands On Knitting Center, or is it just a brown bag? Nope, it's just a brown bag. No, I'm wrong. Okay, I was gonna be a little disappointed, I'm not gonna lie. I was like, brown bag. No, look it does say Hands On Knitting Center. And I like brown and blue together. Okay, so that makes me happier. See, I didn't even know that before you found out at the same time I did. Okay, and then a Hands On Knitting Center notebook. Just a regular lined notebook. Great for having in a knitting bag, project bag. Hands On Knitting mints, sugar-free cinnamon mints, also good to have in your bag. Here's graph paper, and these are sticky Post-it notes, which who doesn't love that? Grid Post-it notes, what? And they did a little heart on it, and there's a reason for that. Let's see, lavender sachet. I I know, like it just keeps on coming, right? Okay, here's the first biggie. Noro. I am crazy about Noro. So this is Noro Kumo, and it is 41% viscose, 35% cotton, 12% silk, and 12% wool. And I have no idea what I'm going to do with it, but it is soft and it is beautiful and I love it. And I'll probably go over to them and say, what should I make with this? Or I might go on to Ravelry and look at other things that are made with this. That's one thing I love about Ravelry. And then here's this little kit. So we've got some bear yarn. Sorry about the glare. And then we have Kool-Aid. And so this birthday box included a class on dyeing. It's a 2-part class, and so I'm going to be taking that, and I'm excited about that. I have never dyed anything. I have been curious. I don't think I'm ever going to become, I shouldn't say that, because anytime I ever say that, then the opposite happens. I don't anticipate at this time that I will ever become like a dyer that sells yarn, but I could see it being fun to once in a while dye some of my own yarn and have that be part of the creative process. So we'll see. And then they also have a little, you can dye it and then you can knit it and then you can put that on it, okay? So can you see that little sachet is something that we can, you know, dye and then make. So super cute. And then it also came with free patterns, which I'm now realizing I haven't downloaded yet and I need to. And then last but certainly not least, it came with this Alexandra yarn. Oh, look at how gorgeous this is. So this, it's called My Guilty Pleasure, and it is again a custom colorway for our store, Hands-On Knitting Center. And it is 80% superwash merino, 10% cashmere, and 10% nylon. So you can imagine with the cashmere in it, this is getting blown out some, but that it's so soft and squishy and you just kind of want to hug it. So this I think definitely has to be socks. Yeah, I think so. And I might, let's see, is this, I'm trying to see. Okay, I don't know. Okay, one is 20 grams and the other one, it says it's 435 yards, but I'm not seeing how many grams the big one is. Probably 100, I can weigh it. But I was wondering that because I would love to be able to maybe make 2 pair of shorties out of this. One for me and maybe one for my daughter. So that's something I'm excited about too. I talked to my daughter Savannah about doing, I got the share a pair and asked her if she would do it with me. And she said yes. I'm gonna just, let's see, can I reach it? Hold on one second. I wanna show you. I've showed it before, but this is the share pair that I got. Oh goodness, it's got some hair on it. Okay, so this is the share pair I got. So I've got, you know, 2 sets of these. So I'm gonna give her one and then I'm gonna keep one and we're gonna do it together. And she has only done 1 sock. We did our first pair of sock we did at the same time, and we did worsted weights. So they're slipper socks. And then her husband put them through the washer and the dryer, I think. So yeah, we won't talk anymore about that. So that's really all I have for sharing as far as yarn and knitting. I do want to thank everybody that has, sent good thoughts or prayers regarding my shoulder. I am not really in that much pain anymore, more like discomfort, other than when I go to physical therapy. But I will tell you that that has made me appreciate my body and how it just normally works so much, and has really made me think about, that normally when I think about my body, I'm critical about it, and that I should just really be way more appreciative of how God made us, and that when we don't have injuries, we work in such amazing ways. And the shoulder, yeah, I had no idea how important it is, or how much you use both hands, even though you're I'm pretty strongly right hand dominant, but I have little hands. And so I use two hands for almost everything. So really glad to have my hand and my shoulder back. Let's see. My husband and I went on this really quick trip to Carlsbad, just one night, but that was so nice. That was last weekend. And we just needed to get away. It's been just a hard period with, he got a new job, which he loves and is great, but it's always a pretty big transition. And then a week after that, I broke my shoulder. And so poor guy has been having to handle everything in the house and a new job and taking care of me. So it was really nice for us just to get away. We had some fabulous food. Our favorite coffee shop in the world is there. It's called Sleeping Tiger. Yum, yum. And just had a great time together. And let's see, shows that I've been watching. The new season of Atypical dropped a few days ago or a week ago. And if you haven't seen that show, I highly recommend it. It's on Netflix, and I just love it. It's the guy has, the main character has Asperger's, but it's really, it's a full show. All of the characters in the family are pretty well developed, and it's funny, it's heartwarming, it's a little thought-provoking. So I would say that's my top pick right now. I am also watching the Mindy, is it called the Mindy Kaling show? I should know. The Mindy Project. I think it's called the Mindy Project. So for some reason, I'd never watched that. And it's funny. And it's just kind of the perfect thing for when I was convalescing. I didn't want any dramas. I didn't want anything sad. I just wanted light, and it was perfect. So if you haven't checked that out and you're just ready for some light, kind of ridiculous comedy, if you like The Office, and you probably will like this, highly recommend. Movies, we just went to go see the movie Old by M. Night Shyamalan on Thursday. I don't know how I felt about it. It wasn't scary. I wouldn't categorize it as scary. And I feel like most of his movies are pretty suspenseful. And I don't know that there was some, but not as much as I would say most of his that I've seen are. Having said that, it was interesting. At the end, my husband and I talked about it quite a bit. Wasn't able to completely guess what was happening. So I always like that. If I can figure it out, I'm usually pretty good at figuring things out like that. So if I can't, I'm always kind of impressed and happy, if that makes sense. So overall, I would say it's worth a watch. Probably I would have waited until it was, on, HBO or something versus watching it in the movie theater. I don't think it was really worth watching in the movie theater, but still enjoyed it. And let's see, as far as what I'm reading, I finished The Good Daughter by Karen Slaughter. It's an older one of hers, but with the Love and Stitches membership, we have a book club. And so that's what we had decided to read. And man, it is a good one. It's one of those, I ripped through it. Little gory, no, a lot gory. So if you are sensitive to something like that, you probably wouldn't enjoy it. But really fast paced. And again, one of those ones that you're not really gonna guess what's going on, and so some surprises and stuff. So it was good. And then on the very other spectrum, I'm reading the Maggie Sefton series, which is a knitting murder series. I blame Natalie from KnittyNatty. She talked about it and I got intrigued and then I got hooked. And I'm not gonna lie, it's not the best writing in the world. It's not bad, but it's not like literature. And it's set in Colorado and there's a murder every book and there's 16 books. So like, you would move, right? If you lived in a small town and there's like a murder every quarter, every season there's a murder, and the same, like this one person knows everybody. So the plausibility not there, but it is kind of fun. And like at the end, sometimes they have recipes, they have knitting patterns. I don't know, it's just fun. So I kind of alternate one of those with one that maybe is more literature based or suspense or something. But that's what I've been reading. And I would love, if you're reading something great, or if you have a great idea about a scrappy blanket, anything like that, I would love for you to comment. You can find me here, obviously, and then I am also pretty active on Instagram as Knit Mania Mom, and that's really the only two places that I'm active at this point. Yeah, so would love to hear from you, and if you have anything that you would like for me to talk about, I'm open to hearing about that too. And I hope you have a fantastic week. Take care, friends. Bye-bye.